What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Minty here, back with another video for you. And today's video is going to be kind of an interesting one. So, it's not a super long story, and I do apologize for that, but it's kind of one of the only ones I could really think of that would be more entertaining for today's video. So, this is kind of what we're going to give out, and I hope you guys kind of enjoy this story. I don't know if it will suffice. I hope it will. I think it's a good story, but I'm not 100% positive. I'll leave that up to you guys. It's just something that I remember happening and thinking crazy of because it happened when I was really younger. And it didn't happen to me, it happened to someone I knew. So it was like really interesting. Anywho, let's get into the story. But before I get into the story, I want to say thank you guys for your support in the last couple of videos. It means a lot to me. I know I do this every time, but I want just you guys to know that it means a lot to me and that I do read the comments. So feel free to comment what you liked about the video, what you don't like. Help me help you, Whatever you guys don't like, don't be afraid to comment about. And same with what you guys do like, whether you like the shorter videos, the longer videos, just let me know what you guys think. If you could. I'm not gonna be like, please comment and beg it, but if you could, that'd be amazing, just so I know what you guys like and don't like for content. Anyhow, let's get into today's story. So today's story took place roughly when I was in middle school. Yeah, early middle school, which is shocking that this story happened to me in middle school and not high school. This would sound like a high school story if you told it to me and didn't specify the grade. So hence why I'm expressing, or not expressing, telling you guys what year I was in school when this happened. So yeah, I was in middle school. I was in sixth grade, and I remember, right, being in sixth grade. I only remember a couple things from sixth grade. I remember Black Ops 2 DLCs coming out. I remember playing Minecraft a lot and BO2. I remember playing games like that. I remember playing Advanced Warfare when that came out later in the years. Like, I don't remember too much from middle school other than that and doing track near the end of middle school. Other than that, I don't remember much. So, bear with me. This story might have some kind of like off tense rambling or off topic rambling just because I don't remember exactly the details of the story. So, well, I do and don't, if that makes sense. Like, I don't have the finer details, if that makes sense. But, anywho, so yeah, this took place middle school minty here, around like sixth grade. So, I remember getting up this day, right? And I'm like, think to myself, oh, I can't wait to see what released on Black Ops 2, right? That was kind of like stuck on my mind during that time. And what released was Mob of the Dead, but I didn't know at the time because I didn't have a phone, so I couldn't check what was coming out. Like, I didn't have any phone or social medias during this time. So I really had no clue, right? I more so was just excited to find out when I got home because I only had an iPod. I don't know who remembers that, and I know that makes me sound old as hell, but I had an iPod growing up in middle school until like eighth grade. So I had no way of checking what DLCs came out until I got like access to Wi-Fi, and the school's Wi-Fi didn't really work that well at my middle school, and it kind of blocked a lot of the social media sites and stuff, which for the time period it was kind of smart, because social media wasn't super popular, but obviously for middle schoolers and younger kids it can damage them if they're not careful. Like you could see stuff that you're not supposed to, especially nowadays. But yeah, during that time I didn't have access to social media whenever because I had an iPod that relied on Wi-Fi. So yeah, I was kind of just going throughout my morning really thinking about that before getting to school on the bus. Like I was really like excited to figure out what was going to happen or what was coming out for BO2 because that was one of the main games I played. But anywho, that's just a little bit of context of my morning, right? Going on the bus and stuff and where my mind was at. My mind was not on school at all. And I remember getting to school, right? And some of my friends at the time were talking to me about this, like about BO2 coming out and stuff and what they thought of it. So I was really excited because now I could at least talk to some of my friends about it and we could both kind of collectively think about what's coming out. Mind you, supposed to be paying attention in class. Make sure you pay attention in your classes. Don't always do what I do in these stories. Please focus on your classes. take school a little serious. If not for, me, do it for yourself, or if not for your family, do it for yourself, Give yourself the chance. But yeah, that's what I was doing in school or during this time was literally just talking with my friends about what we thought the Black Ops 2 DLC was going to be. Anywho, so I remember this was kind of like a normal day. Nothing really crazy happened when I was there. Well, at least to me this time, for the most part. And you'll see why I say this now. Like it felt really normal. I remember going to lunch. Lunch was pretty normal. I remember my classes before lunch was pretty normal. I remember at lunch and recess just talking more about BO2's DLC. And then I remember when recess finally came out, I played wall ball. If you guys remember what wall ball is, if anyone's played wall ball, I played that for recess, which that was like the time of the life wall ball recess. That was kind of like, I don't know, just a core memory for me. So I remember playing that with some people, and then I remember teachers were bringing us in, and I remember getting to my next class, and it was math. So I wasn't paying attention at all. I'm gonna be completely honest. I was kind of just doodling in my math notebook. I wasn't paying attention to the class at all. And I remember people telling me, like, oh, did you know, and we'll call her Tessa, do you know that Tessa brought this to school? And I remember hearing one person say it, and I'm like, no way. And I won't say what it was yet because, suspense here, right, guys? Need some suspense. But I remember hearing that, and I'm like, no way, right? Like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, no shot. And I hear them say that, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And I heard some people earlier, I forgot to mention, on the bus talking about it. I'm like, there's no way, right? Like, I'm thinking, we're all way too young to even be talking about this. There's no way someone has what we're talking about, right? Or they're talking about. And I remember just being in math class, and then I remember hearing the intercom come on. And I remember being told, like, oh, to stay in your classrooms. And they didn't let us leave. Like, all the teachers shut the door. And then I remember hearing Tessa being told to come, like, to the principal's office. I'm thinking, what on earth just happened that we're not allowed to go out into the into the into the hallways or anything, and then all of a sudden the same person that people were just talking about is now getting called to the principal's office. And shortly after he called Tessa to the principal's office, the principal, class kind of resumed as normal, everything resumed as normal. And I didn't give it much thought, right? Which I thought was like, oh, she probably got in trouble for something stupid like fighting or swearing or whatever, right? Because little background of Tessa. Tessa was definitely a troubled kid. And I'm not saying that to put Tessa down or any person down, right? I get it, everyone goes through things and certain things make you not who you are, but who you are in the moment, right? Like, and you learn from that. So I felt bad because I understood it in a way as I got older, like in eighth grade and into earlier high school, because I ended up being one of those people that just were doing stupid things and just going through a tough time and being kind of just a troublemaker because of it. So I understand it a little bit because not everyone's like that. Sometimes it's the things you're going through that make you that way, that you just don't have a care, which sucks, especially at such a young age to be that way. But that was how she was in a way. So yeah, I remember her being called down, and I was just really, it didn't really cross my mind on why. I just was like, oh, whatever. It's probably something that she normally does, like either fighting or yelling or whatever, right? Or like swearing and, just something small. I didn't think it was this. So I get home and I remember talking to one of my friends about her, and he didn't like her at all. He was really judgmental of her. And I felt bad, but at the same token, I was like, well, it's not my business to really have an opinion on her. Like, I don't know her well enough to be like, oh, she's such a bad person. And I remember going to school the next day, and that's in the morning, right? Like, I get ready, I go, I get dressed, put on an outfit, and I get ready to go to school. And when I get there, right, even on the bus, all I heard about were people talking about what she did. Like, I didn't know what, but I just heard them talking about, oh my God, could you believe what she did? Like, stuff like that. Like, petty middle school drama. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what on earth happened that everyone is talking about this, right? So I end up going to school, and when I get there, I remember finally just being so annoyed of, hearing it. So I was like, yo, what happened? And someone eventually told me, that she ended up with weed in her locker. And before I continue this part of the story, I don't condone the use of weed, especially if you're underage. You need to be an adult. I do not recommend that you do it, nor do I promote it. You should not do any of that, especially if you're not of age. So just please take that in consideration. And yeah, so I found that out and I was thinking to myself, like, oh my God, there's no way. Like, I'm thinking this was a rumor, right? Because when they said that they found weed in her locker, mind you, they found like people were saying, oh, there was a pound of it or something. Like, people were just making up like the quantity of it. But either way, people were saying that the story was at least somewhat similar because everyone was saying they found weed in the locker. Like, that's what they found. So that was the only like really consistent part of the story. Everyone else was trying to say like, oh, it was only ounce or it was only this much. Bottom line is, however much it was, they found it in her locker as a sixth grader, which, for one, is shocking enough. For two, it was illegal back then in my state. It was not legal. This was not the time when league when weed was becoming legal. It was illegal completely. So it was very shocking that she had this honor. And I didn't like think this story was true. I thought maybe she got in trouble for fighting. So when people were telling me this, I'm like, oh my God, no way. Like I thought people were being dramatic or trying to be like drama and like spread drama. But no, dude, she had weed in her locker, and I only found this out because I didn't see her for the rest of the school year. I don't know if she got like expelled to a different school. I don't know what the principal did, but that's what I'm assuming because I didn't see her until like high school, and even in high school, I only seen her for a bit. And I never really talked to her, so I was really shocked because she just got like expelled like super quick for that. And I mean, it's kind of understandable, especially during the time period of the fact it wasn't legal, but it blew my mind, It blew my mind completely because like I can't believe you got caught with that. And like how do you end in a position at 6th grade when you're 13, 12 with that, Like how do you get that at that age? And I'm not saying like I want an answer to that. I'm just hypothetically saying that like how is that? That shouldn't be possible, you know what I mean? Like that's crazy. But no, that that happened. She literally had got caught with that in her locker and it low key was crazy to me. I was like, how on earth did this happen? Like I don't know, my middle school mind was so blown away from it. I just couldn't understand how that happened. And I just remember talking to my friends about it. Excuse me, sorry. My sleep schedule's cooked. I remember talking to my friends about it, and I'm just like, dude, that's insane. Like that's all we would talk about it because it was insane to me. I couldn't believe it, and I still kind of can't to this day. Like I don't know, I would be terrified if that was my kid. But yeah, that happened, which is crazy to me because you can't do that obviously for obvious reasons. And that wasn't the first time that something like this has happened with her. She's had other things, obviously, that probably led up to this being the last straw, especially since it was illegal for her getting expelled. But I still obviously do feel bad. And my friend at the time didn't. He was like, that's what you get for doing that. And I was like, it still sucks, though. She could be someone that, is going through a hard time. But my friend didn't see it that way. He was kind of like, it's whatever. And yeah, and it was weird because the only other time I really seen her, actually, now I think about it, I was hanging at my friend's house, Tyler's house. I've mentioned him in previous stories with that fake name. I was hanging at his house, his newer house, because he used to live closer to me and then he moved to a different house. And he told me that he seen her drive down his street, like blasting music, speeding. And I was like, oh God. And apparently that was when she got into an accident. So yeah, obviously the trouble still followed her outside of middle school, but it just I don't know. It was such a crazy story, and I can't believe I didn't think of it sooner to tell you guys because it blew my mind when I found out. But yeah, I'm sorry for kind of the short story, but I think this is gonna wrap it up. Um, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you want longer stories, please show me in the comments. Talk about it. Don't be afraid to comment about it on what you liked about this story or content wise, like how I can improve my content. I'm open to anything, so please don't be afraid to express how you feel in the comments about, today's story time. And yeah, hopefully this guys was a good one for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And yeah, this is your boy Minty, and I'll see you guys in the next one.